career rulebook isn't just outdated, it's a trap. If you're still following it, you're not just falling behind, you're becoming obsolete. What do you think, Aahana?
I totally agree with you, Priyansh. Degrees are pricier, markets are crowded, and AI is coming for the safe seats. Today, we're tearing up the brochure with the man who knows exactly who gets hired and who gets rejected. Mr. Kamal, sir, welcome to the hot seat.
Well, thank you for having me.
Mr. Kamal, let's punch to the gut. Are we overeducating students for the degrees which will be irrelevant after 4 years?
Yes and no. And it's not a politically correct answer. Yes, because there are certain schools that are still going with the motions and have not transformed or kept up with the tremendous changes that technology and AI has brought forward. However, there is a lot of hope and there's a lot of motion and chatter and action that's happening in good institutions, the forerunners. And I'm proud to say, we are proud to say that our school is one of them because we are changing the way students learn. Yes, so it's up to the schools and institutions to transform and keep up with the changing world.
Family Street and Ivy League are top 10 logo like a life insurance. At what point does the prestigious degree stop being an investment and start becoming a bad debt?
I'm not going to put down Ivy League schools because they have their definitely an advantage, but it is a lopsided or an unfair perception of parents and even schools to expect that success only comes through attending top tier schools. So instead of nurturing students and our children to get into the best schools, schools and institutions and parents should be preparing children to nurture their gifts and helping them discover themselves who they truly are, so that they can pursue their gifts that they're given, and then they really become so good at that the world cannot simply ignore them.
Whose return on investment are we actually prioritizing? Is it the student's future or the parent's social standing? Is the prestigious degree an investment or a status symbol for the family on the living room wall?
Yeah, it would be a shame if we as guardians of our children look at our children's future as an investment. Yes, it is an investment, but when we think about return of investment, that's not true love. True unconditional love for our children, for our future generations, is to help them navigate through the rapidly changing world. And how do we help them with that? That's where career counseling, and that's where career counseling is just not about helping students find their careers or the best fit, but it's also about how to contextualize whatever they're learning in classroom and how it applies in the real world, and then helping them find what they're truly good at, and then how they can really become so good at it that they can really design their own future, and they can productize themselves. So if you're really good at something, become so good at something that you can find a niche or find a gap that the society needs, and then you fulfill that gap. And once you fulfill that gap, you learn how to scale it up, and the rest of it is just the byproduct of it. So yeah, parents and guardians of our children should not be thinking about return on investment. They should actually think about how they can nurture our children to find their gifts, regardless of whether they go to Ivy League school or they go to a public university.
We're told to be well-rounded, sports, music and straight A's. But in a pile of 10,000 applications, doesn't being good at everything just make you invisible?
That's a great question. Yes, it can be in a lot of ways, because in a very competitive world, we as a society, parents and schools alike, have been trying to chisel away and create students that are going to be good at or want them to be good at everything, so that they are hard to ignore. Surprisingly, you'll see that if you really get a closer look at the admissions offices in top universities, they're not looking for all-rounders. They're looking for people who are very human, and that attribute of the humanity in a person is going to get even more and more rare as artificial intelligence takes over. So how authentic your application is, how authentic your essay is, how authentic and how true you are to your purpose of what you are meant to do is what and what kind of difference you're going to make with your life is what really great top universities are looking for. Actually, any university is looking for, especially in the top tier ones. So you could, to answer your question, is that would I expect, if I was the dean of admissions of Harvard University or Yale, I would look for a person who has done something tangible to make a difference in the world, like a girl in South India who found a way to provide solution for the seamstress people, the people who iron clothes. She was using, she saw that people were using charcoal, and she got into it and she figured out how to make a difference, and she found a solution for it. And she had made waves, and now she's abroad getting opportunities to study and speak at UN, and she has made a name for herself, and success followed her because she found a solution to something that was very right in her neighborhood. She didn't have to go too far. So however we look at that and bring that kid on board in their school, because that's true intelligence, that's true sign of a leader, right? So yeah.
Are we incentivizing kids to trade the greatness or the spike in one field for the mediocrity in 5, or are we just producing copy-paste students?
That used to be the case, and there's good news and bad news. The good news is that it's changing with social media and the power of information. More and more masses of human beings, adults and children alike, are more informed than ever before. Information reaches to them before it reaches to their parents, and actually children are educating their parents on what's the hottest thing going on, right? So I would say that yes, the good news is that things are changing and things are getting better. In a way, the education system has not moved at the same pace as technology has. So we are still playing catch up, and there are still a lot of people stuck in the old ways. I'm talking about parents, and parents are influencing their children in a lot of ways that they're not letting their stronghold on their ability to let their children take control of their choices and decisions. They still want safety nets. If a father or parent owns a business, they want the children to stay in the business because they have worked 2 generations hard to build that, or first generation to build that hard, and now they build this whole thing, and they would hate to see it go down if their second generation didn't keep up with it. Or the other way around, where the parents are not from a business family and they want to go into, and their parents are a doctor, engineer, whatever. They know that that's a sure ticket to, because these are essential jobs that will never go away. So they want better for the children. The intent is good, because no parent would want their children to go through the same hardships that they went through. However, something gets lost in translation, and that is the power of information, making informed choices. And that's where career counseling comes in. And I'm not trying to plug in my role here, but what I'm saying though is that even Government of India has made it mandatory for all CBSE schools to have 2 counselors in school, each school, so that we provide good guidance, not just only for students, but also for parents. Because at the end of the day, the kids have to leave school and go home and face their children, face their parents, and have a discussion with them. So if the parents are educated as well, as much as students are, about making some informed choices and what's out there and how they can support their children, then copy and paste will go away. Children parents will be supporting the children. School will be supporting the children to really be fearless in pursuing their interests.
As you mentioned about the safety nets, the safe jobs like accounting, law, coding are the ones that could be done by the AI the fastest.
Right.
So if you were 18 today, would you even bother to do a 4-year degree, or is the system too slow to keep up?
I would, and it is important for everybody to understand that yes, AI will replace a lot of those jobs. Even radiologists, for example, it was predicted that with AI, the whole profession of radiologist is going to go away. But you know what's surprising? The statistics that found out was that actually job of radiologists went up every year for the last 5 years. So everybody was stunned to saying that, well, AI is supposed to replace this profession of radiologists. Why is it increasing? Because what AI couldn't do was diagnose and read and the disease and provide effective solutions for it quite yet. It's not there yet. And they needed radiologists to put the results that AI generated in context of that person. Okay, so you had to know that person. You had to find out some background history of their family, yada, 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 to make an educated, scientific decision based upon the results that AI generated. So, yes, a lot of these jobs are going to be replaced, but what's not going to be replaced is the depth and the expertise that human beings can bring in to put the context of what AI is generating. So if I Google in, give me an analysis of, I'm a literature teacher and I want to get analysis of Pride and Prejudice by Jane Austen or Shakespeare's, Measure for Measure, it's going to spit out a beautiful essay. But English majors and literature majors are going to be more in demand than ever before. And the companies are paying top-notch dollars right now in Silicon Valley, starting at $750,000 a year compared to software coders, because they need. Sam Altman is telling everybody that they can recognize AI slop in their resumes, in their content. Even he's saying that there's an AI accent in the language in which it's written. You can recognize that people who have been doing this for a while, who are looking at resumes, looking at content, they can clearly tell. I can tell when I read my student's essay if this was an AI-generated one or if it was a human one, if it was the original one. So to answer, sorry, the long-winded answer, but the answer is that yes, AI is going to replace some of the hard work, that the tasks it's going to replace. But what it's not going to replace is the context that only human beings can bring in to connect that result that AI has done with human beings. How does it apply in the real world?
So would you bother to do a 4-year degree? Or
Yes, I would definitely do, because I know that going into college, I'm not only just going to get education, because I can get education online through books, through libraries. I don't even have to go to library. My laptop is my library. But what 4-year school does is really puts you in with a great network of people. What you do, where you go to study, and where you decide to live, and who you marry are some of the most important decisions that can change the trajectory of life. So who do you want to live with, where do you want to live, and what do you want to do with your life are some important decisions that a student should, and a parent should help their children take their time in making those decisions, because those are high leverage decisions. So my experience would be, if I had to go back 18 years, when I was 18 years old, I would definitely do things differently and make sure that I make the best use of my time in school and college. I would have saved a lot of heartache.
So, Mr. Kamal, what are the 3 human skills that a machine can never replace? And what should we be obsessed with that isn't in a textbook?
A great question again. Some of the skills that are always going to be human are having this ability to be creative, AI will never ever be able to be as creative as human beings are. Okay, when I say creative, meaning truly creative, where original ideas that are there, because human beings are the only ones who are closest to their fellow human beings, and they know exactly what's going on in the society. And AI computers are technologies relying on human beings to feed that information of what's going on in the real world. So they'll always need AI will always need human beings to put things in context. And I cannot stress enough that if a student is taught how to think critically, critical thinking skills, being absolutely curious, and making sure that you really are adaptable, so which means that you can adapt and change and be open. Someone who's adaptable is also open to learning new ways of doing things, and knowing what I don't know is a skill that is going to be really, really useful in the future.
Is follow your passion a dangerous advice, or should we run behind financial freedom?
Yeah, it can become a very dangerous advice. Following a passion is usually given by people who are already rich, and they have the luxury to, and this is my opinion, I'm not saying that you shouldn't follow your passion, but you should be smart about making that choice. I think I mentioned this earlier, but for example, if somebody wants to be a musician, and if my child, if I had a kid and he wanted to go, or if I had a student from grade 11 or 12 comes in and says, I want to be a musician, I want to be a jazz musician and whatever, or a classical next Ravi Shankar, then I would say, yeah, sure, you should keep that fire alive in your belly. But are you, and I will walk that person through informed choices, saying that if this is something that you want to do as a career, as your lifelong career, then you have to become so good at it that the world cannot just ignore you. And that's true for any aspect of your life that you go into, especially career. And so it doesn't matter whichever career you choose, but especially the careers that are that require that are very competitive in nature. Okay, world is getting increasingly competitive, but especially in careers that are perceived as risky, like music industry or acting, or people say, are you crazy? You should do that as a hobby, but you shouldn't do that as a career, right? So I think we have to be careful as parents and guardians of our students, as career counselors as well, and teachers, that we help our children prepare for the, say, if being a great sitar player or being a jazz musician doesn't work out, what's the next best thing you can do? That's still very closely tied to music, and it feeds your soul, and it keeps you alive, keeps that passion alive in you. Yeah, that's not what you want to do, but that's the second best thing you want to do. And if that doesn't work out, there should be a third best thing that will allow you sustenance in your life, that you can support your life. You can, because money is important. You need to make a living, but not at the compromise of selling your soul to the devil. You want to still do things that move you and that makes you worth living the life that you want to live. So dream big, follow your passion, but be realistic about it, and be prepared for options, option 2, option 3, option 4, because reality is out there, and that's not going to wait too long. It's just going to knock you down again. So be ready to face that as well.
Mr. Kamal, give us the cheat code. How can an average student on paper beat a straight A student in real world?
Be real, being authentic, overcoming. Don't let the world say this can't be done. Straight A students are typically following a straight line. It's the misfits. It's the ones who go astray and take chances and take risks, are the ones who really, really, really make a difference. To take risks. The sooner you take risks, the sooner you're able to learn to take risks. And I'm not saying that a child, when he falls down, doesn't think twice, gets up and learns to walk again. You we have to learn to make sure that we overcome fear of failing, because people look at failing as a bad thing. Great athletes or great leaders will always say they learn nothing from success. They always learn from failures. So my advice that, go out and do things. And the average student who is high on risk taking and who has got high appetite for curiosity, and doesn't let the noise of the world distort his own inner calling, they will always outshine straight A students, no matter what. It's just a matter of time.
Okay, let's jump to rapid fire. What's the most useless degree in 2026?
There's no such thing as useless degree. The degree that is going to be useless is if the student or the person just took it because didn't have any other option, or the parents asked him to follow the degree. That's the worst useless degree you will ever have. So don't take a degree for the sake of taking a degree. Go follow a degree that really feeds your curiosity and fuels your desire to go deep into that subject.
Private college versus government college. Is the price gap worth it?
No, it's not. I'm a strong believer that if you're ready to learn, you will learn underneath our banyan tree in the middle of the night with one lamp post, So, but having said that, if you are privileged enough to attend or have the option of attending a great school, then it would be a shame if you didn't do really well and attend a great school, so that you can take leverage of the bright minds that are around you, and the company that is going to be around your friends and your professors. You're going to be in a different bracket of people, smart people. I'm not saying that that's the sure way of success, but it increases your odds to meet brilliant people. And your trajectory of achieving success is going to be ramped up, or it's going to increase quite a bit. So it depends. If you're privileged enough and you have resources to attend great school, go for it. If you're not, don't beat yourself down, because you can still do as good, if not better, than the one who had the privilege, as long as you're determined. Yeah, it's going to be hard, but you can do it.
For sure. The SATs, is it a real metric or is it just a business?
My personal opinion, you should appear for SATs because it's practical. For if you're applying for schools, even the schools would say that we don't look at SAT scores in selection process. They still put you through a filter. I know for sure the top 50 universities in the US, they just have so much of overwhelming amount of applications. They just can't even sift through them. So they just go through these 2-3 filters. One of them is SATs. And if you didn't hit the minimum benchmark of SAT, they just don't even look at your application. Is that fair? No, it's not. So sometimes you have to play the game until the rules change. Are they going to change? Yes, they are changing. A lot of schools are really not looking at SATs because they have learned that the kind of intelligent people that technology has helped churn out or produced, people who have not even gone through finished high school are super smart. They're brilliant. They're coding and they're finding new ways to sustain a living and make a killing. I'm talking about millionaires and billionaires because they have leveraged technology to educate them. So universities are still looking at that, and they don't want to lose that opportunity to attract bright minds that may not show up on SAT. Okay, and those people who typically are not showing up on SATs are usually rebels and misfits, and they shouldn't discount them because they will lose another Albert Einstein or somebody super bright. So yeah.
I'm sure many parents would be watching this. What's the number one mistake that parents make in career planning?
I won't say they really make mistakes, because no parent would actually make a mistake knowingly to hurt their children or not help the children. Every parent really and every teacher really wants to help the children to reach their fullest potential. And I'm sure every child wants that, to live their fullest potential that they are born to do in this world. So, but what we end up doing, the parents end up doing, is that because they worked hard all their life, they want to provide a better future for them, and they start. They have to learn to step back and let their children fall and let them make mistakes and let them make their choices. That doesn't mean that parents shouldn't help them, but make sure that the parents educate themselves on what's really happening in the world right now, so that they are informed and they are well prepared to engage in a very positive and a fruitful conversation between the children and themselves, so that it's a productive one rather than an argumentative one or defensive one or offensive one. I think that's the single biggest mistake the parents typically tend to make, and that's where we come in. We want to make sure that we recognize as career counselors in schools that we want to make sure that every teacher is a career counselor, not just 2 career counselors in school. That every teacher can contextualize whatever they're teaching is applicable, how it fits in the real world. And we want to teach and help our parents as well to how they can become good advisors and good career counselors in their homes. You have to be good listeners and put themselves in their children's shoes and put things in context. That you should let them live their life rather than imposing their dreams on their children.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Mr. Kamal, for giving a reality check to this generation.
It's my pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Subscribe if you're tired of the official answers. We'll see you in the next one.
Thank you. Mic drop.